You pick a team and you love them.
You pump it till you die, as they say.
It's pretty much everything.
I'd say it's more of a lifestyle.
I'm Lauren Morgan, and I must admit I'm no football fan myself, but that's exactly why I started looking into how a simple game of football can mean so much to people. To do that, I'm chatting firstly with my friend Mia to find out why she became an Arsenal fan.
So I support Arsenal. I've supported them for literally as long as I can remember. It was mainly my brother's influence on me. I'm very close to them. They're 3 older ones. There's quite a big age gap between us, so the fact that there is one mutual thing that connects us is really nice.
As a family, you must have quite a lot of memorabilia and merchandise. Does this mean quite a lot to you?
We do have loads of memorabilia and merchandise. My brothers were huge collectors when they were younger, and most of the stuff that I now have is passed down. So I have loads of vintage Arsenal stuff, and it's really cool. And they are really personal, so personal in fact that my brother likes to keep them in his loft and not give them to me because they are too sacred to even be seen.
Do you feel that your football supporting shapes you as a person?
I think it shaped who I am as a person in terms of I like the escapism of it and the fact that when a game is on, I don't have anything to worry about apart from what the score is. And it is a time for me to relax. So in terms of keeping in check with my mental health, it's really good for me.
Why do you think so many people in the UK support a football team?
Oh, that's a big question. Because it is one of the biggest sports out there, and I think it's the escapism factor actually, and just having something to put time and effort into and watching, and a lot of community is around it, and for a lot of people it's a safe place really.
From my research, I found that in the UK there are 55 million fans supporting a professional football team, and 14.8 million of those football fans support a Premier League team.
Today I've come to speak to Aaron and Christian about their football supporting.
As we know, there are millions of football fans in the UK, but some of these support teams overseas. I spoke to Christian, who supports a Spanish team.
I support Real Madrid Club de Football. I've been supporting them for pretty much my whole life, maybe since I was 6 or 7. I lived in Spain for 11 years.
What role does your family play in shaping your football fandom?
My grandfather was a very big Real Madrid fan. He'd religiously watch Real Madrid games every weekend on the TV, and I'd walk past and I'd see him giving it a lot of passion, he's just right in front of the screen, just shouting or celebrating or whatever he does. I was like, oh, this is quite interesting. And then he started giving me gifts, Real Madrid gifts, like Real Madrid toys and stuff. And I was like, okay, seems like, you want me to do something with this. So yeah, and then my interest grew.
What do you believe makes you a true supporter of Real Madrid?
I feel like it's just consistently paying attention to them, even off the field. Everything about them, being passionate about them, always staying by their side.
Do you feel that your football supporting shapes who you are as a person?
I feel like supporting this type of team just kind of gives me a mentality of I want to be good at everything pretty much, or as best as I can be, just working hard and trying to go for it.
Would you say it's like a hobby for you, supporting?
Supporting I'd say it's more of a lifestyle. For a team like Real Madrid to win big trophies year in, year out, it's nice to see how successful we are, and kind of makes me want to do the same but in life.
Why do you think so many people in the UK support a football team?
It's the biggest sport in the world, I'd say. It's definitely the most passionate sport that you can support, essentially. Best community out there when it comes to togetherness and sharing the same values, which I feel like that's what most fans are all about.
Christian and Aaron share a passion for football, but their loyalties lie with different sides, as they both stand for where they came from.
I'm a fan of Portsmouth, also known as Pompey FC. I've supported them pretty much since birth. Came about because my dad used to support them all the time, went home and away for a little while when he was younger. And obviously growing up, being one of three boys, you know, you're always going to play a bit of football. So obviously you support your dad's team. Yeah, it's the main club. Like if you're born in Portsmouth, you support Portsmouth. That is sort of the be all and end all of it.
How do you find that the Portsmouth FC fans support the team beyond just watching the games?
Getting involved with social media, things like that, seeing what the club are posting, is talking about it, whether they're, you know, like the workspace or even just in and about Portsmouth. It's quite difficult to find someone who supports someone else when you're on Pompey.
So when Portsmouth play at home, is it quite like a big thing from where you're from?
Yeah, it's huge. Like you can hear them from miles away. You hear Fratton Park. It's the big thing. Like the whole day is sort of built around it for some people.
Do you find that football supporting can be an escapism?
Yeah, when the ball's in play for those 90 minutes, you're not really thinking about anything else. So even if I'm at a game, you know, I'm not thinking about anything, and they're normally with my dad talking about what's just gone on in the game, what needs to be done differently and things like that. But your full focus is always on the game.
At one point, Portsmouth FC was a fan-owned club, right? What was the history behind that?
Yeah, it was when so we were put in some financial difficulty from previous dodgy owners who said they had the money but didn't. So then we as a supporters trust took over them in 2013 and then sold it on in 2017. So I think at the time we were one of the biggest fan-owned clubs in the whole world. And that was just a special time. Like we were right on the brink of not being a club anymore, but then the fans to step up, put their money in the pocket. It was a massive thing.
It shows quite a lot about being a Portsmouth fan, right?
Yeah, it's all about that lifelong commitment. You know, you're Pompey till you die, as they say.
We've seen how football brings connection and joy, but sometimes being a fan can be tough too. Simon turned his passion for Bournemouth FC into something truly special. He set up Talking Cherries, a safe space for fans to support each other with their mental health. And I'm meeting him at the Bournemouth FC's home supporters pub to speak to him more.
So Talking Cherries was set up about 5 years ago. We set it up when a fan sadly took their own life. We had a genuine outpouring of emotion on social media, and I saw that and thought, how can we harness this before? So I started to talk to other fans at home games and away games, originally talking about how we could set up a men's mental health group. And then it evolved from there to basically enable fans to have somewhere to go to talk football, but to also know that there's fans that actually care and are willing to have some more difficult conversations should they ever want to. If there's a fan that says something or says I'm under the weather or might say something that they might not want to follow through with, we then have fans that would see that, would reach out to them, suggest that they get in contact with one of our mental health first aiders. So we have a team of fans that are qualified in mental health first aid, and then we can signpost to them. But very informal. We're not the kind of formal mental health support group because we're just fans. We do this to be a voice and to be an ear to listen if should people need it.
Have you always been a Bournemouth football fan?
Always. Yeah. Ever since I was about 12, I think my first match was.
It has a special place in your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much everything.
What does it mean to you to support a football team?
I think community is an overused word a lot of the time, but it is. It's camaraderie. It's having connections with people that have the same objective as you. You have the same dream. You just want your team to win and progress. And that's quite sticky and becomes quite tribal. We just see that as a real positive thing, and it's really nice to be in a community with like-minded fans who are all pushing for the same result.
Does it help shape who you are?
It doesn't take over my life. My wife might think otherwise, but for me it's part of life. It's part of a healthy package of things you like to do, challenges. Everyone's got to find their healthy mix in life. So for me, it's a key part of life. It's not everything.
And so Talking Cherries is something you've set up because of your fan community with Bournemouth. Where do you want it to go?
So the query is, can we do more in other communities? So we have been successful in helping Talking Royals set up at Reading. We've also helped Talking Spurs set up at Tottenham. They're early infancy situations, and we've got Talking Hatters at Luton on the horizon. And as a group of fans, we're now coming together to build a community benefit society where we want to attract and raise money that we can then train other fans at other football clubs to do the same thing as we're doing. So it would be a dream through what we're calling the Talking platform to have all 92 football clubs having something similar. Now some do already. Norwich are great. They've got a brilliant mental health setup already, and other clubs do. But it's very sporadic. There's not something that can come together at the same level for every fan base. So we think if everybody had that ability, we may not be able to solve every mental health situation, but we can normalise certain conversations and make people feel like they're not alone a lot earlier in the process.
Why do you feel that football fan communities are important to people?
Well, it's an easy answer when you're a football fan, but I think it's any community. It doesn't have to be football. It could be cricket, it could be rugby, it could be netball, it can be any sport you ever want. Community is the most important thing. That's where relationships are built. You get happiness, you get camaraderie, you get all those different emotional connections. They're actually really important to anybody, not just football. So for us, obviously, that is often the only place people get to go in a week where they get those connections. So you could be sat at a match and you could be sitting next to a stranger, but because they're there supporting your team, you start having conversations with them. And because they don't know you, sometimes those conversations go in all sorts of interesting, wacky directions. So as I say, it can be any sport, but community is across everything, even not sport.
How do you feel football brings people together?
A lot of people need the out. You know, there's a lot of, they might have really stressful lives each week. They might be lawyers, they might be all sorts. You know, football communities come with different people at different levels of society, but everybody's part of that community. So it doesn't matter whether you're the local bloke who's in here in the pub, or whether you're a lawyer working till 10 o'clock at night in London. You could still all be in the same place come Saturday afternoon, Tuesday evening, or whatever day of the week it is, brings you together.
So I've just finished speaking to all my interviewees, and it was really interesting to see how each supporter has different reasons for supporting the team that they do, but they all have like the same goal. They just want to have this interest in a team and something that they can be sort of loyal to, and it gives them just that distraction in life.
I found that football communities are a reminder that people are never really alone, because being a fan is the feeling of being a part of something bigger.